Greetings, my fellows. Welcome to the internet. It's a wild and increasingly dysfunctional place that is home to our favorite, beloved, ancient forum website, scpwiki.com. In case you somehow stumbled upon this video without knowing what the SCP Foundation is, first of all, welcome. Second of all, how? The SCP Wiki is a collaborative creative writing community based around a numerical list of stories that are written in the style of clinical research documents. As limitation breeds creativity, the clinical format has proved so compelling a limit that this community has given rise to not only literally tens of thousands of short stories and novellas, but also artwork and short films and animations and audio dramas and video games and many, many YouTubers of varying quality. You may have even heard of like 5 or 6 of the mega ultra famous stories from 15 years ago. They do get around. And then I'm going to put like a video, not really, but you know, reference to, yeah, people want to f*** a lizard. I am an SCP author. You probably wouldn't recognize any of my work from the site, but maybe you know my podcast. At any rate, today we are here to talk about one of the most loathed writing mistakes and ask ourselves the question, is it really a mistake at all? The thing about being a writer on the internet is that there are a lot of other writers on the internet, and most of them, the sweeping majority of them, are amateurs. This isn't a bad thing. Communities thrive on amateur involvement. Amateur does not mean unskilled, it just means unpaid. But also, plenty of them are unskilled. There is a lot of writing advice online, especially circulating writing forums and especially social media. And a lot of it is written by people with varying levels of skill. I'm not trying to disparage beginning writers. I would actually love if a lot more people wrote more fiction, especially in this day and age, but I don't think I'm breaking any new ground by saying that the internet does not always offer the best advice. It's like those old Pinterest how to draw diagrams that say that men are shaped like rectangles and women are shaped like circles. A lot of the writing advice that you'll find online is simplified and reductive and sometimes just downright unhelpful. One such popular truism is that you should never, ever write a self-insert character. Let us examine the humble self-insert. It's what it sounds like. A character who is too much like the author, too on the nose about it all, sometimes just literally the author themselves put into the story. Some authors argue that this is a unilaterally bad thing to do in your writing, as it doesn't make for good character development, as writing characters that are different from you is more difficult and therefore more creatively rewarding, and a better exhibition of your skills as an author. It's not difficult to see the merit of this advice either. I'm sure plenty of us writers love to not think about the time when we were 12 years old and we wrote extensively about ourselves, but with blue hair and a tail and a different cooler name and a different cooler older brother at a summer camp for Pokemon/Dragon trainers. Her name was Azzy with 2 Z's. You can imagine exactly what people mean when they talk about self-insert stories. Cringy, histrionic preteen writing filled with the worst grammar you've ever seen and wrapped up in so much transparent wish fulfillment there isn't even room for an actual plot. If you're a writer and you haven't already written a story that fits that description, get on that. It's a rite of passage. We have all done it. It's so freeing. You can just write fanfiction about yourself. The government can't stop you yet. But by God, is Mike Lee going to try? So it makes sense why writers would tell really new writers to never do it. Beginners need broader, less nuanced advice in order to establish a good foundation. No pun intended. Get it? Because of SCP. Because of SCP. Tosh. Because of the foundation. That's why we teach first graders that stories have a beginning and a middle and an end, even though some of the best stories start at the end and then go back to the beginning. And then I'm going to put a Sinners reference here because that's how that movie starts. And you should watch that movie. It is better generally, to start simple. Hell, even Wikipedia says, quote, among professional writers, the intentional, deliberate use of first-person and third-person self-insertion techniques are commonly considered to be an unoriginal action on the author's part and represent a paucity of creative thought in their writing. Which brings me to my thesis. Wikipedia is wrong. Writing a self-insert is not bad writing. It's advanced technique. Self-insertion is a tool, and it's a tool that can be used well or used poorly. What self-insertion is not is forgiving. In order to pull off a self-insert, a real self-insert, you have to be a good writer. Because yeah, writing a character that's just you may be easier than inventing a new and fresh person. So in order to make up for that, you have to be kind of cracked at the other parts of the story, like the prose and the themes and the development of the other characters. Contrary to the argument that it's uncreative to write a self-insert, self-insertion can serve a unique purpose. After all, you do have stories to tell that can be turned into a compelling piece of fiction. Take Stephen King, for example. He's written about sad middle-aged novelists a million times, and he's a gajillionaire. Or Daniel Handler and his fictionalized self-insert, Lemony Snicket. And don't yell at me. Yeah, Lemony Snicket has some variations in like backstory and personality. Sure. But he's still the author who is writing the story, and his name is on the book. Or Rohan from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a magical, sexy mangaka who can alter the character's fates with his pen, and definitely isn't Iraqi. I don't know about that. I mean, if I were writing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I would do that also. If you've been hovering around the SCP space, there's a likely chance that you have come to associate the phrase self-insert with a very specific story, infamous for its self-insert protagonist and the deep scars it has left on the culture of the wiki and pop culture at large. It needs no introduction. You already know which one I'm talking about. That's right. Today we're going to talk about Dante Alighieri's 14th century narrative poem, Inferno. One such popular truism is that you should never, ever write a self-insert character. I forgot my fucking copy of Dante. You know, fuck my life. I remembered everything else, and I even looked at it this morning, and I was like, I have to remember to bring my fucking copy of Dante.
Don't they have, like, a bunch of random books out there?
They don't have Dante's Inferno here. All they have is, like, anarchist theory. I can't believe I fucking forgot it. You bitch idiot. You dumb fuck. I don't think they're gonna have one. What do you have?
They didn't have Dante's Inferno, but consider volume 28 of Naruto.
Give me that right now. This is an upside-down copy of Naruto. Come with me on a mind journey, viewers. To the faraway land of the back of this punk venue. I am holding in my hand a copy of volume 28 of Naruto because I left my copy of Dante's Inferno at home. So, what we're going to do, you and me on this journey together, you are going to pretend that this book is this book that I am now waving around on the screen in footage that I will take later. What happens in this? I've never read Naruto. And oh, there's a bird also. There's a bird.
Oh, this fuck-ass guy.
Yeah, this fuck-ass guy. Sorry. Give me my Dante back.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, wait a minute. If Naruto is Dante, does that make Sasuke Virgil?
No, Kakashi.
I'm gonna take your word for it because I don't know who that is. I know.
The bitch with the eye patch.
The bitch with the eye patch.
The
this is so. Oh, and then this is Beatrice. I'm just gonna use pictures of Naruto characters to represent these historical figures who actually lived on Earth. In the early 1300s, an Italian guy named Dante wrote some fan fiction about the Bible in which he is guided through the circles of hell by another, different, cooler poet named Virgil. His senpai, if you will. Virgil.
Virgil senpai.
Virgil-san.
Virgil-kun.
Virgil Kuhn.
Virgil Sama.
I need someone to drag me to the parking lot out back and put me down like a lame horse. Inferno is the first of 3 parts of the Divine Comedy, but it's the part I'm going to focus on because it's the most well-known, and it's also the only one that I have a mass-market paperback copy of. Not this copy. This is Naruto. Dante commits several of the internet fiction writing community's biggest sins. His protagonist is a self-insert, literally himself, by name and everything, but adjusted to be portrayed as this woeful, repentant, sensitive, bleeding heart who only seeks the light of God and rejection of his sinful nature. Does Naruto fear God? His self-insert could even be seen as something of 14th century Italy's Mary Sue, because he really embodies the ideal Christian who is flawed and tainted by sin, but also constantly crying about it.
Virgil Sama. How do I get to heaven?
Virgil Kuhn, how do I go to heaven? Boo-hoo, my good deeds are nothing but dirty rags unto the Lord. I have to pass out every 15 minutes because in spite of my sinful nature, I'm just so pious and scene transitions haven't been invented yet.
Do you want to say hi to YouTube?
Do I?
Do you?
I don't know. Hi, YouTube.
Come buy some stuff at Mark of the Bistro.
I dare you.
Do it. Andrew dares you. Now you have to.
Yeah.
We get it, Dante. You're more repentant and self-flagellating than the rest of us. We should all go to the nearest Catholic church and weep on the floor and also possibly drop-kick some clerical authorities. Dante also uses, almost exclusively, a technique so taboo in fan fiction communities that it can mark you forever as morally corrupt, and that is writing fan fiction about real people. Nearly every single character in the Inferno and the 2 parts beyond is a real person. Sometimes a historical figure, but often people who were alive during Dante's lifetime, and even people from his personal life. Virgil Sensei, his guide through... Virgil, his guide through hell, was an actual ancient Roman poet that Dante personally idolized. That's like if I wrote a narrative poem about me being guided through hell by William Shakespeare, my mentor and new best friend who thinks I'm cool and really good at writing and church. Dante's so good at church, it's unbelievable. The goat of church. As Dante journeys through hell, witnessing the absolute wild and incredibly creative punishments the sinners endure, Dante, the author, populates each area with real people, contemporary or historical, to use for the political commentary about his time period. Dante was heavily political in his writing. Ugh. Why does it have to be political? Why can't you just write some good rhyme and verse? You can't read anything these days without some Tuscan elite complaining about the state of the papacy. Because of woke. He also references people he personally knows. He puts his personal friends in hell. People who were still alive when he was writing. And if we're talking about self-insertion and the extent to which Dante's own life and experiences play into the story, I have to talk about Beatrice, even though her presence is primarily in Paradiso. Beatrice is the character who represents love and forgiveness. Beatrice was also a real person who Dante fell in love with when they were just children, around 8 years old, both of them. Dante entered an arranged marriage when he was a tween, which was normal at the time, but he remained secretly in love with Beatrice, respectfully admiring her from afar and using his love for her as artistic inspiration until she died when they were just teenagers. The important part to us is that the Inferno and the entire Divine Comedy is unequivocally self-insert fanfiction. There is no way around it. There is no universe in which the character of Dante is a devised fictional character that the author Dante invented. It's him. It's literally just him in his own invented version of the afterlife that he came up with himself. I mean, I'm sure he had influences, but you know what I mean. And that means it's bad, right? It's a bad story, and it should be deleted off of the SCP Wiki. The global consensus is that Dante's Divine Comedy is the most important piece of literature that ever came out of Italy, and one of the most important pieces of literature in general ever. Its impact really can't be overstated. It impacted the modern Italian language. It impacted the way that modern authors structure narratives. It impacted entire branches of religion. Dante's vision of hell is nearly universally accepted as canon by so many modern Christians to the point that you may as well just add the entire book to the end of the Bible. Without Dante's Inferno, we wouldn't have things like American evangelical Christianity, or the spectacularly written, visually stunning starring beloved smash hit indie animated series, The Gaslight District. The Gaslight District starring, and I can't stress this enough, SCP author Jack Mockery as Mud. Congratulations, bestie. We're all very proud of you. Also, if I had a nickel for every time Marika's husband voiced a prominent character in a piece of media directly inspired by Dante's ancient self-insert fanfiction, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Okay, so maybe the reason that Dante gets away with it is because back in 1308, self-insertion wasn't a concept that had been beaten to death by 12-year-olds. Or maybe people did have a huge problem with it, but the complaints didn't survive the way that the book did. You could argue that it has to have been good in order for it to have survived this long. But you could also argue that maybe it didn't last because it's good, maybe we just think it's good because it happened to last. It is possible. However, I think that the reason Dante could get away with so many of our modern-day writing faux pas is because the Inferno's just super fucking good. It's beautifully musically written. His concept of hell is so compelling in its horrific creativity. There's a reason that it has painted such a vivid picture in our imaginations for literally centuries. Even reading it as a teenager, I remember being riveted by the steady march of torture methods, eager to turn the page and see the terror to which the next set of poor bastards would be subjected. Sure, I didn't understand any of the political references, and without much deeper investigation, I still don't, but people at the time would have, and it would have sparked debate and conversation. Dante's self-insert, while maybe sometimes a little bit melodramatic by today's standards, is still under the surface devastatingly relatable. His transparent fear of hell and the wrath of God, his pursuit of enlightenment and personal actualization, his overwhelming love for his friends and his heroes and his hometown and his first love. Dante was writing about himself. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, he was writing about you. You're not that different from the people around you. You're not that different from a 14th century Italian poet. So let's talk about the Homestuck satellite. SCP-2721, Eli and Lyris, rewritten in its current form by Kinch the Knife Blade and Dolphin Slugchugger, is easily the most hated article on the SCP Wiki, according to people who do not read the SCP Wiki. It's a story about a pair of sentient satellites originally created as some kind of weapon sent to destroy the Earth. But while researching humanity, they access Tumblr, and one of the satellites finds joy and meaning in identifying as a trans woman, and they both decide to spare the planet instead. It's told in a series of Tumblr posts from both satellites, one detailing her interest in Homestuck, internet culture, and art, and venting about her dysphoria. The other satellite just posts privately about being witness to this change. It's a story about being trans. It's a story about transition and body dysphoria, about loving and hating yourself, about being embarrassing and cringe and incomplete as you figure out who and what you are. It's about exchanging rage and violence for love and happiness, in spite of everything. I'm gonna read you the last post. She drew a picture of us. She said it is not something to put on her main blog. It is something for me. I am posting it here because it is good for things which please me to be on my blog. I think she is beautiful, and she is my friend. She says the image is only a sketch, that it is unfinished. I do not think so. I think it is perfect. She says I am her moirail. It is an invention of Homestuck. I am not sure exactly what it means. I am not sure she does either. I believe it means a friendship of love, a love platonic. I believe that she, too, is my moirail. I am breaking, I think. I may already be broken. I am repaired otherwise. I do not understand so much. She is pleased, and that is that which matters. I do not remember caring about her happiness so dearly. I do not remember caring about happiness. She is beautiful, even if she thinks she is a monster. She forgets that she is only the one who watches, who catalogs. I am the one who does. I will remain broken as long as she is happy. I will not do what I am here to do. I will not commit the act I am here to do. I will not do what fulfills my purpose. I will love my friend until the parts that make me crumble into dust. I will help make this world one worthy of us both. SCP-2721 is a beautiful article. I'm not going to pretend like it's perfect, though. I think that the conprox and the description are way too heavy on, like, the technobabble, and it makes it feel kind of tonally inconsistent with the grounded prose of the blog posts. It also uses redacted a lot, which is a pet peeve of mine personally. But the blog section, the body of the work that contains the actual story, it's gorgeous. It's poetic and evocative and relatable. It's so perfectly emblematic of a very specific trans experience, that of being an awkward, cringy trans teenager on Tumblr in like 2013, and it executes that really, really well. SCP-2721 got massive amounts of negative attention several years ago because it's about a trans character. Some dumb Nazi threw a tantrum on a now defunct dumb Nazi forum, and the article got brigaded so hard and for so long in an attempt to have it removed that it still doesn't have a rating module. That was in 2018. Back when I was still on Twitter. Get off Twitter. Every single Pride Month, there would be like 1 million people crawling out of the woodwork to say that SCP-2721 caused the fall of the Roman Empire or whatever. And I would ask these people if they had actually read the article, and the answer was always no. When you ask people who have not read it why they think it's bad, they don't give one of the two actually honest answers. The first honest answer would be, because someone told me it was. And the second, more honest answer is, because there's a trans person in it. The answer they do give is that SCP-2721 is bad because it's a self-insert. Are they right? Well, they're definitely wrong about it being bad. But are they right about it being a self-insert? Also no. But at the same time, yes. But only in the sense that literally every fiction story ever made is a self-insert. Okay, maybe not as much of a self-insert as Dante, but whenever you write fiction, you are inserting yourself. Your experiences, your views on the world, little snippets of your personality make it into all of your characters, even if as a whole they're totally different people than you. Your fingerprints are in the clay. We love to write about ourselves because we love to share ourselves, and we love to read because there is something divinely transcendent about seeing yourself in another person. SCP-2721 is not a self-insert like Dante, but it is insertion of parts of the author themselves in the form of their direct experience with the culture of trans youth on a specific website in a specific time period. It's actually the whole reason this article is so effective and elicits such an intense reaction from people. People say that Lyris's writing style is cringe, because it is. It's raw and unfiltered and so nakedly emotional that it's borderline painful to read. But it's not bad writing. It's a framing device. It's done on purpose. It's in character. It's in the character of a nerdy, fandom-brained, awkward, embarrassing, chronically online internet child. And the reason it hurts so much to read is because, queer or not, a lot of us remember being that child. And that's not an easy mirror to look into. Kinch could have gone an entirely different route with this character. They could have made Lyris fall in love with humanity in ways that are, you know, good, but played out a million times. But Kinch purposefully derives Lyris's love of life and humanity from the awkward, messy clumsiness of teenage gender exploration, which is not only, you know, fairly untreaded ground in most media, but resonates incredibly deeply with anyone who's ever been an embarrassing queer kid. And it wouldn't have worked so well if the author didn't have the courage, experience, and ability to write about themselves. Even after all this, you might not get SCP-2721. You probably won't get a lot of things. Sometimes you're just not the target demographic of a piece of art. But it can actually help your writing to read and engage with stuff that's not written for or about you, because it helps you see life from someone else's point of view, and it broadens your understanding of the world. This is one of the coolest things about fiction. It literally increases your empathy for other people. I don't identify as transgender. I've never experienced gender dysphoria. But I know how it feels to have all-consuming love for my friends. I know how it feels to watch someone close to me transition. I know how it feels to be ready to burn the entire world to ash if it hurts the people I care about. I'm not a narrative poet in the Middle Ages, but I definitely resonate with having loud political opinions and wanting the chance to talk to my long dead artistic inspirations. I have experienced a precious few things, actually, but by reading about other people's experiences, other people's self-insert, you and I both can know a little bit more about how the world and other people work. The reason that some people are so violently opposed to this article is because it's about a trans person. Not because of any issue with the quality of the writing or the style or any gripe with modern fiction conventions. It's because it's a story about an experience that they don't personally relate to, and an experience that they, frankly, would rather just didn't exist. They don't care about self-inserts. They care about whose self is being inserted. I don't need to tell you right now that it's a bad time for trans people, which makes it all the more important to share stories about trans people, and gay people, and immigrants, and addicts, and prisoners. Fascists have a vested interest in making sure that you never empathize with the people that they're targeting. They never want you to see into the hearts of those people, because then you might realize that they're not meaningfully any different than you. Geez, remember when this was a video about self-inserts? Okay. I will wrap this up. What you need to understand about writing is that all of the rules are flexible. Self-insert characters do not inherently make a piece of writing bad. I find that artistic advice in general is better if you frame it as positives rather than negatives. So like, do this instead of don't do that. Do write characters who are relatable. Do approach your character development with clear intent. Do balance your own experience with other people's experiences. Basically anything that people tell you you should never ever do, you can actually pull off. You can break the rules as long as you do it with intention. You can write with improper grammar. You can write with bad spelling. You can write about yourself. You can write about a homestuck satellite. You just have to do it on purpose. And next time you are out reading, try and look for the author. Try to find their opinion and their feelings and the world they lived in. No matter how different they are from you, be they a long-dead Tuscan philosopher or a nerdy transgender forum user, there is room next to them where you can insert yourself. Their fingerprints probably look a lot like yours. I got a burp. I got a burp in me. I can't. It already came out. I will next time, I promise. I have to sit up. I can't read my script. I gotta find a different, creative, cool way to be. Do I look back? I can't. I'm on the steps. I can't do that. Oh shit, I had a burp and I didn't do it into the microphone. That one it was, though. You're welcome. Is Dante submissive and breathable?
Part 2 of this video essay.
Part 2 of this video essay on Dante's Inferno Omegaverse edition.